usually wake to pray about 2:55 or 3:05 or 3:20, somewhere in there. And I woke up, and all of a sudden, I heard what I thought was a motorcycle going up the road, like that. And then the house started to squeak, kick, 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 along with the little thump, thump, thump. I said, uh-oh, that's not a motorcycle. That's what I heard before. And, of course, I was completely unprepared, and I had been warned of this date, this season, and this month, and I assumed it was too early in the year. Well, it was obviously a test pass. I went outside, and there I heard him going away. I heard the whine of the turbine. And that's how this thing works. And we had this happen here in February the 5th of this year. I got a call from the dispatcher, 911 dispatcher in the sheriff's office. And they had a chopper which was flying around over Oak Park on Old Zeus Hunt Club Road. And there was gunfire going on, apparently from the chopper and from the ground. They asked me to get a hold of the Army because nobody could get a hold of the Marines over at Quantico. I said, well, I can get a hold of the Army op centers and the Air Force op centers, and we did. I put them in contact with the dispatcher, but I told them the chopper is not going to be ours. It is not one of our choppers. Now, one time in Texas, a guy heard his dogs barking. He saw guys running around down there by his barn, and here's this chopper sitting down there. Its blades turning. He couldn't hear a thing. And sure enough, they were operating noise canceling. Now, the one that came here, it was noise canceling. It was intermittent. The noise canceling was going on and off, and you hear a bada. It was going on and off, and the pilot did not know it. And be advised that a pilot in a chopper, the command pilot sits on the right-hand side, whereas on an aircraft fixed wing, the pilot in command, or the aircraft commander, or the captain, sits on the left-hand side. The chopper, it's just the opposite. So it went over, and they heard this thing, and they saw it, and they weren't going to get near it because there was gunfire. And of course, when you're in a car on the ground, all you have is a Glock on your hip as a deputy. You don't have much defense against the chopper. So this is what happened. Now, they have what is called an automatic weather observation system. If you've seen my video, Straight from the Joint Chiefs, or you've been to any of my lectures, I would have showed you a picture of an automatic weather observation system. Now, any pilot, regardless of who he is, even a chopper pilot, he must have his terminal weather forecast. Now, I'm a pilot, got a pilot's license. I got very, very close relatives that fly big planes, heavies. They have to have their weather. And the main important thing is when you fly from point A to point B, you've got to know what the weather is at point B, even if you're a chopper pilot. So our pilots, if you're a commercial pilot, your company gets the weather for you. If you're a general aviation pilot, you have to call Pilot Automatic Weather System, or you can sure go on the internet and you can get the weather. Along your route, you can get the weather, and you can call in and get a weather briefing. I'm sure now they're probably synthesized. You punch in your route on the internet, and they'll give you the synthesized weather briefing, what you would see along the road on your route. But the UN pilots, if they would be calling in asking about the weather, they'd have an accent. Well, what's the weather today in Connecticut, or in New Haven? What's the weather in New Haven today? Well, all these strange foreign voices would be out there and say, who are these guys? So what happened, they have given them FEMA has bought a special system all over the country. About every 60 miles, you'll find an automatic weather observation tower. Now, it's not very tall. It can be about 10 feet tall, some of them, or it can be about 20 feet tall, or about 15, just depending. It'll have a spinner on it. It'll have some other devices on it, and they give you barometric pressure. They give you temperature. They even give you the temperature under the road by the tower, because somewhere near the tower there's a helipad, and so they'll know what the temperature is on the helipad if it's pretty close to that tower, or the clandestine helipad, okay? You'll get runway visibility range, which shows you how much fog there is. They're very interested in that. and you'll get dew point, and you'll get all the aviation parameters you need to fly a chopper or an aircraft in that area. They're located along the highways about every 60 miles. They're built by Scan Corporation, paid for by your tax dollars. They're maintained by Surface Systems out of St. Louis. In fact, Scan Corporation was in St. Louis also. They're maintained by Navy, in one case, for Navy retired electronics technicians, ETs. He didn't know what he didn't know what he's repairing. He just got to get the contract. His company has a contract. He's contracted out to Surface Systems, and he goes and fixes these things. He doesn't know what they're for. Your local Department of Transportation guys, they have an 800 number for that tower, each one of these towers, but they don't need aviation weather. They don't need weather at all. They just have to stick their hand out the window to know if it's snowing or not. If you're not flying, you're not too much concerned about the weather. Only when you're flying do you need critical weather parameters. So these towers are everywhere, and sometimes if they're out in the boonies, they'll be fed by a solar panel, keep them charged up. Or, like the one here, they've got a power meter right beside of it on the pole, and they pay their bill, and you pay the power bill. That's how they work. And the guy gets his weather. If he's going to operate, let's say in the Madison County from down in South Carolina, he'll dial up this tower, and he has a chart. He has a special aeronautical chart. Now, I'm telling you this by professional deduction. I've never seen the aeronautical chart, but I know what they're doing. You remember the Lord spoke to me in 92 and said, "Call upon me, and I shall show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." Well, this is one of those things he's shown me. And they'll call into their tower, and they'll know exactly what the weather is 10 miles from my house. They'll know if it's icing conditions. They'll know if it's fog. They'll know the temperature. They'll know the temperature of the road. They'll know everything that they can operate here. So when time comes down, those things are going to be something which lead to your incarceration. If a chopper pilot can find your house and he can get the weather and knows just what the weather is at your house, he can fly to your house if he's got the weather. And so you can take it from there, okay? Now, the Intelligent Highway System, we've talked about this before. Every 10 miles or less, there's an Intelligent Highway System module. It was manufactured by Lockheed Martin. Leon Panetta was the guy in charge. He's now the head of the CIA, one of the major surveillance agencies in the United States. He was in the Transportation Department under Clinton. He was the Secretary of Transportation. He installed the IHS, the Intelligent Highway System modules. They're under the roads. You'll see a box along the road, which is about 15 inches square by about 8 inches deep. It's on a post. Sometimes it's sitting there and it says traffic counter on it. Sometimes it'll have a pole with a solar panel on it. That's the Intelligent Highway System. They've sliced under the roads and put sensors there. When they upgrade the sensors, which they did last year, they cut another slice in the road. But once the road has been repaved, you'll never see the sensors again on the highway. You'll see the box sitting there. Inside the box, on these simple models, there'll be a small thing about the size of a little bigger than a matchbox inside, just above where the cable comes up in the bottom of the box. And that's the CPU, the Central Processing Unit, the little chipboard. The whole box is mostly full of air. So once they have paved over the road, all you'll see is a little box along the road. Sometimes they have them with a little green post, no box at all, and it's hooked to a landline. Those are very deceptive, and they're hard to find. You'll have to see them when they put them in. Remember where they are. But these things can track your vehicle. Eventually it'll track your vehicle, but easy enough, they can track your cell phone. They can track your cell phone, and your cell phone, when you zip over that, your cell phone has your Social Security number on it. We know that the regional blue list and the regional blue, Region 3 blue list, the one we got to see, was listed by name and Social Security number. Now, you remember there was a guy killed about a month ago in Kentucky?